Hello everybody and welcome back to Triple Crown Wargaming with me, the Chieftain, where today we're going to be looking through the most recent Almanac given out by Games Workshop, which you can see on screen is the old Almanac. This new Bretonnian Lord was sculpted in 2008. Now this Almanac is mainly relating to the model that they teased, I think it was about like last week, probably middle of last week, by saying they found a model that hadn't seen the light of day and they were planning to release it as it was anyway. And they finally released what the model was today to some, I'm going to say, mixed receptions to how the model looks, including between some of the group chats I'm in myself. So, this new Bretonnian Lord was sculpted in 2008. So, here we go. The first wave of Warhammer the Old World out for real this Saturday. A glittering Bretonnian host arrayed against the remorseless undead legions of Gemring. But these aren't the only soldiers, knights and constructs or nobles coming to the two sides. There are many more classics returning. Some of the original forms, others such as remasters, and a select few coming on a made-to-order basis. So, and that's got a little asterisk next to it, which we're going to look at the end of this article. And there's even a few new models coming, but one of these had a longer history than you might expect. In fact, this Bretonnian Lord on foot and his little helper were actually sculpted back in 2008, but never released until now. Another couple of asterisks, which again we'll go at the end of this. So as you can see on the screen, there is the Bretonnian Lord on foot with a, I want to say squire, but it's very reminiscent of the Watchers in the Dark, that company. Oh, excuse me. A lot of the Dark Angels from 40k, such as Azrael and the new Lionel Johnson. And the model in itself has had a mixed receptions. How it looks, it certainly harkens back to the days of the old sculpting methods, which was rather than digital sculpting, they were using green putty and sculpting tools to actually handcraft the miniatures themselves in a green form to mold around said models. So that's probably some of the reasons why the faces look a bit odd. But it does harken back to some of those sort of traditional times where a lot of the classic miniatures that we all grew up with came about from. So, again, this continues to go on to say it's also models made in 2008. It was shown at a games day around then in a cabinet of greens, and the greens relates to the old, how they sculpted the models themselves. And so just go on to say about how the model is relating to the game, why they brought it back. I'm just going to talk about the model realistically. The Lord itself is relatively nice. I do like the front of the body. I do especially like the shield that's on his back here. The very sculpted shield. His face seems a little odd, but it has got sort of those reminiscent times of what it used to be when you sculpted models. So I'll give him that. I do like the hole in the gloves. The sword is comically long and huge. I'm doubtful that any human will be actually able to wield the sword. But seeing as a Bretonnian Lord, is likely he has completed the Grail Vow. So he's not exactly human. He's sort of more I won't say demigod, but sort of in that vein of being super powered. So he might be able to pick up the sword in itself. There we go. So I'm going to say about the person who sculpted the Lord itself. Goes on to talk about how I done it, and it's very surprised to learn his would be released after all this time. So what would it be? It'd be 10, 12, 16 years since this model was sculpted, which is a very long time. Now, as I said, this model has been a bit of a contentious one in the community because of the little squire that accompanies the Bretonnian Lord. Now, the helmet he's carrying is nice, but the face of the I don't even know if it's supposed to be a kid or a small adult in the robes, but the face is a little bit janky, shall we say. It does look like he's drinking from a cup that's mounted upon the Lord's helmet. So there is that. That is the main point of it. It's the faces of the two models. I don't mind the Lord. I honestly don't mind him. The shield's probably the best part on his back. The face is a little bit of a weird one. Again, same as the Squire. And I said the sword is comically long, but it is supposed to be someone who's carrying a great weapon. Excuse me. So yeah, and they go on to talk about, they show off like what was this? This was a Golden Demon entry, which was bronze in 2006. My word, that was just around the time I was starting the hobby of the field trebuchet, which is lovely and in action motion of going around with all the peasants chopping the masonry up. You obviously got the little kid on the wheelbarrow firing a slingshot, and all the other crew doing what they need to do. What they do want to say is that the that this Bretonnian Lord was supposed to be released as the Games Day miniature of 2009. But unfortunately, it was replaced. I say unfortunately, it was replaced by the Exalted Hero of Chaos at the very same Games Day, which you can see on the screen in itself. Now, this is a fantastic model. I love this Exalted Hero on foot for Warriors of Chaos. Unfortunately, he's one of the Warriors of Chaos I don't own myself. I've been looking to get him as many as I could, or as soon as I could. I just haven't been able to find one for a decent price on some of the auction sites that are out there. And a little caveat underneath here says the Exalted Hero of Chaos from Game Day 2009. Note that no release is currently planned for this guy. So if you was hoping that they were showing off the next new model to be sort of re-released, unfortunately it's not going to be this Exalted Hero. We may have to wait for a little bit of time, or if there's no planned release, to try and find those sort of auction site purchases as low as we can. And they do go on to say that it's rare to release a new model metal, which is very true. It's rare they do release a brand new model metal. They do re-release a lot of the models in metal. The last one was Warg Attack Gambling on Horse for the Middle Earth Strategy Battle game, which was a fair while ago, if I'm honest. Excuse me, I keep yawning. So he's a unique release, but we have definitely had to make new master molds from the other greens throughout the development of the old world to replace some of that had been lost or worn out over the years. So that is pretty much it for the Almanac. So also got, so in terms of the asterisks that you've seen throughout this article, I believe the first two at the very top, or the tippy top, or they might have all been three at the top. They were. And so this also model was made in 2008. It was shown at the Games Day around in Cabinet of Greens. So that one. So all the asterisks are down here. So the third one, the three asterisks were miniatures were sculpted by hand. They were first made from green putty, which would then be used to press the mold. So that's what I was saying earlier on, in which they made the model in the green putty and then molded around it to create the mold for other metal miniatures. And then they were going on about the other two asterisks. So let's go back to the first one, right at the top. So others. So we're going here. But these aren't the only soldiers, knights, constructs, or nobles coming to the two sides. There are many more classics returning, some in original forms, others are remasters, and a select few coming on a made-to-order basis. And that's the first asterisk. So there we go. So those in that last category will blow your mind. Now, whether or not this is just for Bretonnians and Tomb Kings and returning models coming back as a made-to-order benefit, I can't say for sure. I hope it isn't. I want to see some of the old Warriors of Chaos, some of the old Beastmen. What else have I got out there? Some of the High Elves, some of the Orcs and Goblins. I'd love to see some of the old miniatures coming back because they were really from a golden period of sculpting and sort of individuality for the miniatures themselves. So I'd love to see what this last category and why it's going to blow our minds. The second asterisk is... in fact, this Bretonnian Lord on foot and his little helper were actually sculpted back in 2008, but never released until now. And that was the second asterisk, which is, well, soon. So, not exactly going to be released now. I don't even think it's going to be released on Saturday, 20th of January. So, it'll probably be a second wave release, or maybe one of these made-to-orders they're on about. I don't know. So, if you are looking to get one of these miniatures to sort of not round out your collection, if you do own a lot of the other characters from Bretonnia and you need to have this one just so you can say you have them all, then you may be wasting a little bit of time. I can't say. I don't have an inside track, unfortunately. And the last bit about this Almanac I do want to go over is this one here. So at the very end of it, it says Warhammer the Old World launch event, Saturday the 20th of January 2024. So this is the launch event for the game that is happening on the Saturday of the release at Warhammer World in itself, in which there is a lot of people going around. There's going to be a lot of, I think, YouTube players are going to be there. Unfortunately, we at Triple Crown can't make it, as we will be busy making a load of videos for you, our loyal viewers, to watch on release date as well, hopefully. We'll be getting our stuff very early Saturday morning, making the videos, making them up and uploading as soon as we can for you guys. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you will have something to see on the Saturday and going onwards. But the other thing is on here is the very last paragraph is we've also got some further exciting reveals this week. Those lucky enough to attend the Warhammer the Old World launch event at Warhammer World in Nottingham this weekend will get the first look at the next army due for release. And those that can't make it to Nottingham will have the details here on Warhammer Community. So they're announcing the next army to get the full release work. So this will be in the... I'd imagine it won't be a PDF faction. I think those are going to be waiting until all the main ones do have their arcane journals, their release dates, and all that sort of jazz. So if you're hoping for a PDF faction, I would sort of hold my breath if I was you. For the other 9 factions, though, there is a little bit of hope. Well, not hope. There is a glimmer of hope that you may be the next one coming out. So, as a little bit of a question point for all you viewers out there watching this video, what do you think will be the next fully released army, and what are you hoping to see? For myself, I'd love to see warriors or beastmen. Those are the 2 I'd love to see. One of them are 2 chaos factions. Orcs and goblins, I'd like to see a little bit of those, but they do already have quite a lot of their faction released as it is. And saying that, so the warriors and beastmen, so that's not really hardly a point for myself. But I would just love to see it as being beastmen or warriors, seeing someone like the Gorthor model, seeing Kazrak come back, seeing some of the classic Bray Shamans coming back, the Korngors, the Slangors, all that sort of jazz. I love to see those sort of stuff coming back. But it may be a faction that doesn't particularly have a lot of its miniatures available to be bought off the Warhammer store. So in that vein, it may be dwarves, high elves, Empire mainly. A lot of the good factions did get their models scrubbed from the website, so it could be along those lines. What are your thoughts on what the next faction will be for release? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll go from there. But beyond that, guys, that's really it from the Almanac. Thank you for listening to me today. As I said, any thoughts, what you've seen through the Almanac in itself, let us know in the comments, and we'll see what your thoughts are on it. But until next time, we'll see you later.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright? Do it for